Look at the smartphone. It's slick, modern, and touch responsive. However, behind this smooth screen lies something invisible, yet dangerous. So, every scroll, every call, and every search we do on our smartphones and gadgets leaves a carbon footprint. And leaves carbon footprint. So we are often told to go digital in order to save our planet. But here comes the truth. The internet produces more carbon dioxide than the aviation industry does per year. So what can we do in order to avoid these kinds of things? When we, as a competitive programmer, as a competitive programmer, used to focus on speed and performance and futures while writing code and while competitive programming. But someday I faced a fact. That is 1.6 billion tons of carbon dioxide emits per year from the digital behavior of citizens. And that made me pause. That made me shocked. Am I part of that problem? Is my code part of that problem? So that changed everything. I started optimizing my code, not just for the performance of the code, but for a better future, but for a better ecology of our planet. So what makes our codes polluting? So we know when we use our gadgets, when we use internet, we use online servers, and those online servers, the cloud we call, are not fluffy. They're made of giant warehouses packed with servers, and while they operate, they heat up, and they need to be cooled, which consumes a huge amount of electrical energy, which are often taken from fossil fuels. And here comes other problems. First, what makes our digital behavior and our code polluting? It's first, unoptimized code. And second, transmission of large files. When we transmit large files such as videos, photos, or even audio between our friends or anyone else, servers use a lot of energy. Those online servers consume a lot of energy in order to transmit, in order to share those files, and which use electrical energy coming from fossil fuels. And third one is storage waste. It's like we back up our unnecessary data or redundant data, which takes up a lot of server space, and that in order to be that data to be stored in the server, that server should operate heavily and needs to be cooled, which as I mentioned, consumes a lot of electrical energy. But don't worry, here comes the solution. What we should do in order to avoid those kinds of problems. First, we should optimize our code. So I believe here we have some competitive programmers who write programming codes, and while they write code, they should optimize their code in order to reduce the number of operations that server does in order to transmit files or do operation. And second, compress files. So when we compress our files, that could be any file. The file size reduces. So during the transmission, less electrical energy is consumed by the server. So by doing so, we are saving a lot of energy, which means we are contributing to the ecology of our planet. And the fourth one, educate others. So try to involve sustainability in programming lessons and hackathons. Try to involve in sustainability activities, or try to engage others in sustainability activities. So by doing so, we can teach others all of these things. And remember, when you take your gadgets, your keyboard has a power, not just to write, not just to create the line of code, but to protect. Yeah, but to protect. So that's the most important thing. While we use our keyboards, ask yourselves, is it going to solve a problem, or is it going to silently create a new problem? So when you think about that, you should analyze what you're doing and try to reduce, try to follow the things we have mentioned before, and in that way you can save our planet and contribute to the sustainability of our planet. Thank you.